This is your trigger warning. This video will contain discussions about consent and sexual assault.
Oh boy. Okay. Trigger warning. Let me make that the same for my stream as well, because we're obviously going to go into this. So there's a trigger warning for you guys. Talking about assault. I have seen this TikTok in a different compilation. I didn't realize this was the John guy in question that we were going to be seeing. I thought this was like a random user. So I know what this is going to be about. It's not nearly as graphic, but it is still worth having that warning on there beforehand. If you guys need to leave, tune out. I promise I will be done with this in about 10 minutes time max. Okay. So if you guys want to dip out for about 10 minutes, if you guys don't want to hear about this, I promise I will be done with this in 10 minutes. I'm watching the clock to make sure I hold myself to that.
Assault.
The way you talk about and describe consent. Now let's examine it.
They cannot consent. That is sexual assault.
You are absolutely right. The bulls do not consent to be masturbated and have their sperm taken from them. The cows do not consent to have this sperm inserted into them.
You know, I typically ignore when people do crap like this with the videos I make or the words that I say, but I will not ignore it this time. I have made so many videos educating my followers about why consent is so important. And for you to make a mockery of consent by comparing how we as humans interact with each other in a safe and productive way to breeding animals is shameful. And
that is absolutely fucking true. I believe sorry, me and my damn notebooks. I wrote that in here because I had seen her video or whatever. And I had written in my notes, because I'm a weirdo and I take fucking notes before doing streams and stuff, because I know I'm so good at tangents. But so what it is, I said that saying breeding animals is rape because they can't consent is insulting. To downplay anyone's sexual assault by comparing it to breeding is gross. I did not really think that sentence out entirely, but like that, as someone who is a survivor of sexual assault, I do not like the comparison that she dares to fucking make. I don't like that. To say that what I went through is exactly the fucking same as what like a cow goes through, or a bull, or whatever the fuck she was saying, like a bull being forced like masturbated or whatever. It's not the fucking same. And I, you know, like there are people who have been in my position that didn't get the chance to fucking live afterwards. Like there are people that have been killed after their assaults. And for this fucking vegan teacher, not the guy on screen, for this vegan teacher lady to be like, no, like it's actually exactly the fucking same. Like, wow. Wow, like, fuck you, bitch. Fuck you.
Posting videos like that just makes it so much harder for us to talk about consent and have people take it seriously.
I love you guys. I went to therapy for like a lot of things in 2018. That being one of the things I went to therapy for. And I did EMDR therapy. It took like an entire year for me to get through like a bunch of shit that I essentially just sat on and wouldn't like talk to and like deal with or whatever. So now I'm like more okay. I've learned proper coping mechanisms and how to deal with things and how to talk about things and all of that, and understand trauma and everything now. So I'm a lot better now. But yeah, thank you guys. And I love you guys. But if you guys need help, go get therapy. I cannot like ever explain how much that shit helped me. So for me now to see this shit, I'm not upset by it, like in a way that like it personally affects me and brings me right back to that time. But it, you know, but it can do that to someone, you know, and the fact that you make that comparison is so degrading. It's almost as degrading as the fucking act itself in a fucked up way, because you force people to relive that situation. So I promised I was going to keep on a time frame to keep it within 10 minutes. So for anyone that left, that they don't have to hear this. So I need to keep fucking moving.
You need to apologize to every adult and child whose experience with sexual assault you just compared to breeding animals, and think before you speak.
Thank you, John. John Robert Bell, by
this
the
is
way,
your trigger
Joe
warning.
Roby.
This video will contain discussions about consent and sexual assault.
Except your trigger warning was complete bullshit.
What?
Unless you give your audience a full 10 seconds to think about what you just said.
No! I'm trying to speedrun this very, very fucking quick. so that anyone I like said like the 10-minute thing, because we're coming up on it, we got 3 minutes left, so I gotta fucking scroll because I don't want to fucking hurt anybody. This is so fucking messed up. Now she's just nitpicking, being like, oh, your trigger warning's not good enough because it was like 10, it wasn't 10 seconds or whatever. Yeah, she is. Kalaturu, she is absolutely fucking Karen-splaining trigger warnings right now. Like, how can you, she's already been gatekeeping fucking veganism, and now she's fucking gatekeeping trigger warnings? Like, what the fuck? And here's the thing, is in that other video, like a little bit ago, when he made the like pun about like his coffee being black or whatever, and she used that fucking visual of like raping the mother and taking away the child and all this kind of stuff, the child cow and all this kind of shit, and putting them back into the cycle of abuse. She didn't put a trigger warning before putting that fucking information out there. And I bet you the fucking reason why she did that too is because she falls under PETA's motto, which, as you guys know from all of the research I do on fucking PETA all the time, is their whole tactic is shock factor. So they don't give a shit about trigger warnings. In fact, they probably hate trigger warnings because a trigger warning would not give them the reaction and the attention they seek. They wouldn't be like, trigger warning, we're going to show you some like, you know, gross animal stuff that may or may not be actually faked, because some of their stuff has apparently come out recently as fake, which is even crazier. But they don't want trigger warnings because that takes away from the shock value of the information they're trying to shove down your throats, and it's some weird fucked up effort to make you want to be vegan. But the reality is it doesn't do that. So like, what? What? Also, Jali-sama? Guys, there's no limit on getting therapy. If you've just started, if you've been in it for years and years and years, if you're 10 or 35, it's okay. It's a really good thing to seek that healing. That is true. It is better late than never. And the best time to start is honestly whenever you're ready. Because I knew I needed therapy for years, and I did not go to it for years because I was not ready. And that's the simple fucking answer, is you have to be ready for it at the end of the day. If you're not ready, it does not fucking matter. You can spend all the money and time in the world. It will not fucking matter until you are ready. So, back to this bitch.
And swipe you away before you bombard them with information that's going to hurt them. It's completely useless. I would be like me saying, catch, and I throw this ball at you before giving you a chance to put up your hands.
No!
You understand? I know it's hard for you to be quiet, John, but next time you give a trigger warning, wait a full 10 seconds before you speak.
This is your...
I'm pretty sure John's gonna say something and probably agree with what the fuck I said, or what I'm about to say, but he's already said it because it's in a video and we're live. But... what? Like... I'm sorry, where are we? I thought we'd be through this fast enough. We're at the 10-minute mark, so I feel kind of bad right now, but we're gonna speed through this. But the point is with this is comparing a trigger warning to trying to like sneak attack, surprise someone with throwing a ball. That shit doesn't make any fucking sense. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like that again is like, I don't know, like making it less fucking relevant for the sake of trying to be right. Like for her, being right is more important than, all right, let's try and keep getting through this.
Trigger warning. This video will contain discussions about consent and sexual assault.
Count to 10, John, and consider this to be a trigger warning.
Oh my god,
for you.
she's still
Because
going
if you
on
think
about
that
this.
Consent applies to humans and not animals, you need to come back to ethics class. Watch Earthlings, Dominion Movement, and Cowspiracy before you respond to...
Oh, hey, the last one, Cowspiracy. Isn't that the one we fucking debunked at the beginning of this stream? I hate her. She's still going on about this shit. Like, just imagine how ill-informed you are that you're still gonna go off about this shit after the people who made that documentary had to retract their fucking statements for being grossly inaccurate. Where does she teach? She apparently used to be like an English teacher or something at like a school in like Washington State or Oregon or some shit, and she retired or some crap, and now she's trying to talk about ethics. Does she work for PETA? She might as fucking well, to be honest.
To this video. Be better. Be vegan.
Be better. Be vegan.
This is your trigger warning. This video
We're
will
still
contain
on this
discussions
shit,
about
like,
consent
oh my
and
God.
sexual assault.
Except,
Let's see
your
what he
trigger
has to
warning is
say.
complete bullshit.
Let's go, John.
Unless you give your audience a full 10 seconds to think about what you just said and swipe you away before you...
Kingy over here in the fucking chat. She used to teach kids. Now she shouts at McDonald's stores. And Chauncey boy, be gay, do crime. Amen. She's that teacher you know, no matter how good you are, you'll never have an A in her class. Honestly, I could see that.
You bombard them with information that's going to hurt them. It's completely useless. I would be like me saying, catch, and I throw this ball at you before giving you a chance to put up your hands.
You know, I am actually impressed. You managed to make people think that your analogies are even stupider than they did before. But I'm glad you're taking such an interest in trigger warnings, considering you didn't put one on your video.
Yes!
And you made another video saying that I don't understand what consent is. But here's the deal. When you bastardize the term consent to include animals that are being bred,
I love this
you
guy.
diminish the experiences of so many survivors of sexual assault and violence.
Thank you.
So perhaps it's time for you to stop being the teacher and for you to be the student. See you on the flip side. Or not. I don't really care.
This guy,
You can
we are on
easily
the
change
same
your religion.
wavelength.
Just walk from...
Uh-oh, change. Yes. Okay, so I've seen this yellow background clip, not with his face. But this is where she's going to say, like, you can just change religion by going to a different building. And she's like, oh, you can just leave a mosque and go to a different building. And I was like, you fundamentally do not understand what religion is if you think religion is something that is contained within a building. Like, that's not even what religion is. Like, anyone who in this chat is religious, is formerly religious, or is atheist or deist or whatever, I think everyone in here can fucking understand that religion is not a thing that is contained inside a building that then becomes the place of worship, right? I think we can all agree that it's like a way of belief, right? It's a spiritual thing. And his face is perfect right now. It literally is. So she's going to go on in this clip to say that it's like changing your religion is like leaving a building. Like it... Just listen to this. Hopefully this will play through because it was in some weird compilation I found earlier. I'm very curious as to what he's going to say about her now, though.
A church into another building. Or from a mosque into another building.
So depending on how long you've been following me, you may or may not know that I'm actually a very religious person. And this isn't the first video that she's talked about this subject where she said change your religion. Why not be an atheist every Sunday? And let me first say, what she's doing is completely irresponsible. Oh, and completely ignorant.
Morris,
don't forget that part.
over. You can
Because anybody who even knows the slightest bit about religion knows that it's not determined by what building you go to on your day of worship. It's determined by what you believe.
Yes.
Quite honestly, I would say the things she said about religion are embarrassingly stupid, if I didn't think they were also dangerous. Because some young viewers, without understanding any historical context of religion, may look up and find animal sacrifices and now think that their religion advocates for hurting animals and that they need to convert. So, vegan teacher, stop talking about religion because you clearly know nothing about it.
Go, John. Go, John. This is A+ material. It's better than what I could have said.
Religion is based
honestly.
on fairy tales. Books that were written
God.
hundreds and thousands of years ago. They're not based on science.
Dude, her fucking shirt. I can't. No, I can't do that. Okay, let's try this. What is it? Heaven Hotline. She's talking on a banana phone. Okay, this can't be bad.
It for him. Yes, on TikTok. Okay, bye.
I'm actually a very religious person.
John Robert Bell, you're going straight to hell. God.
Oh my god. She just told this dude who is openly religious that he's just going straight to hell because he's not vegan. Holy hell. Yeah, I see all of you guys just freaking the fuck out. The Joe Roby experience. That's what we're on right now. So yeah, so she's run out of ways to actually have a productive counter argument and debate with this guy, so she's going into attacking him now. It's just not okay.
God said so, and he should know. He said you're mean, 'cause you'd rather pay for someone to kill a baby cow than to eat some tofu and a bean.
I'm actually a very religious person.
John Robert Bell, you're going straight to hell. God said
shit.
so, and he should know. He said you're a big old bully-o, 'cause you'd rather pay for the
another
violation,
song.
enslavement, and murder of innocent females instead of buying some lentils and a potato.
What she's doing is completely irresponsible.
But John Robert Bell, you can still see the light. Watch earthlings.com,
God.
and you can become vegan too.
The song ain't even good. It's true. Dude, she's horrific. That is beyond
John Robert Bell, you're going straight to
insulting.
hell. God
Oh
said
yes,
so,
rip
and
her
he should know.
apart.
He said you're a big old
Do it.
bully-o, 'cause
Do
you'd
it.
rather pay for the violation, enslavement, and murder of innocent females instead of buying some lentils and a potato.
You know, vegan teacher, I would like to thank you for proving to all of us once and for all that you are not interested at all about converting other people to veganism. You are only interested in shaming those who aren't. That time that you spent writing a song about how I'm going to hell for eating meat could have been spent actually educating others about your cause. But instead, you knew that I was deeply religious, and so you personally attacked me. Now it's time for me to be the teacher, Karen. You do not get to say that you stand for equality and then go around and bash people for their religion.
Yes.
You are nothing more than a performative provocateur who is willing to say anything, even if it hurts your cause, just to get views. I truly hope that you...
That is the PETA mentality right fucking there. Okay, so this comes from Real Clear Science. Read full article. Yes. Oh, it comes from Vox. Debunking What the Health, the buzzy new documentary that wants you to be vegan. Okay, so What the Health is one. Fuck it, we're debunking a few more things. We ain't fucking done here tonight. This bitch is... I've had it with her tonight. Okay. So, Earthlings, the thing she just mentioned, right? Let's go ahead and let's get the debunking going, because I've fucking had it with her being so arrogant and so misinformed the entire time. So, Earthlings, an animal rights documentary that preaches to the choir but fails to advance the cause. So when I first heard of the documentary Earthlings, I have to admit I immediately assumed the worst. The fact that Joaquin Phoenix is on the cover and Moby provided the musical score brought images to my mind of Pamela Anderson screaming "Meat is murder." Okay. So the film takes the same approach to food production. It implies that if we want to eat meat, then animals will be treated cruelly in factory farms. That there is no other way. It's an all or nothing approach that, while appealing to PETA members, that won't change the way most people relate to their food. It may guilt trip a few people into becoming vegetarians, but for the rest of us, they offer no answers to solving the problem of large-scale animal suffering. So animal suffering is perhaps one of the most complex ethical questions of the 21st century and should be treated accordingly. It does not deserve to be simplified and robbed of all nuance. To pretend that going vegan will eliminate the animal suffering caused by our modern society is ridiculous. It's the balm of self-righteousness. We see that in her shit, like in all of her TikToks. Every acre of soy that is planted requires the death of hundreds of small rodents. Field mice are shredded and baby deer are crushed underneath advancing tractors. Our end goal as a society shouldn't be to eliminate the consumption of animal meat. Leather is a byproduct of meat processing here in the States, not a separate industry as shown in the film's clips in India. But instead, we should try and reduce the net amount of animal suffering that is incurred by our food production. So again, the thing here is saying that it is not realistic to eliminate it. And in, you know, for example, with soy, like they were saying, it's causing death to other animals. But I'm sorry, those animals must be less relevant since we don't, as like a Western American society, most of us in here, don't eat rats. So by that, it means that soy is okay. Like that's... So, since the best way to combat animal cruelty is to shine a light on the practices, the film does accomplish some of those goals. But this person says they are left with the feeling that Earthlings was in the end a wasted opportunity. I don't want to call it vegan propaganda, as the creators obviously had good intentions, but I feel that it could have been so much more than what it was. Instead of taking the opportunity to create a film that looked at the complex relationship that humans have with animals with the intent of ending needless animal suffering, they decided instead to make the equivalent of a snuff film in hopes of shocking people to adapt to their belief system, which is what PETA likes to do. So... PETA likes to scare you guys, showing you videos of all this, you know, kind of shit, and being like, oh my god, yeah. See this video of someone being like, or some animal being something or another, be like, well, we're going to show you this graphically and uncensored because this will change your mind. I'm like, no, it's going to make me look away. And I'm not going to look at it anymore. I'm going to completely shut down anything you have to say. Mer10 says fake leather is really bad, especially for like surviving the Canadian winter. Well, the problem with fake leather too, with pleather, is it's plastic. And in a fucked up way, leather is a complicated subject because leather is a byproduct of the meat industry, right? Which the meat industry is not going to go away. So by default, this is essentially just not wasting the hide, essentially, and turning it into leather, right? Or you can use pleather, which makes you temporarily feel better until you realize that it's fucking plastic and that it's not going to biodegrade. And so when you eventually throw that pleather out or whatever, you're going to be stuck in this situation now where you're essentially throwing something into a landfill that will not degrade over time or fast enough at a rate that it's actually relevant to help the ecosystem and the environment. So all you're doing is adding waste into the ground. So if you're really part of the cause of saving the earth and all this shit, then you wouldn't use pleather products. So that's that. Shadow Queen says, I had to watch those food documentaries in culinary school and I still cringe that one of them has PETA in it. Yet PETA tends to be all over those, and they're not accurate. And PETA is there for shock value. So let's take a look at the other documentary that she talks about, which is called What the Health. This is going to be the third one that we're going to debunk now. So this article here says there's a sensational documentary out on Netflix that seems to have a lot of people talking about going vegan. In the spirit of what so many food documentaries and diet books that have come before, What the Health promises that there is one healthy way to eat, and it involves cutting all animal products out of our diet. All right, so it's again the promise of being vegan, go vegan, blah, 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 whatever. But Anderson's film fails on several accounts and cranks the food fear sirens to irresponsibly high levels. He mischaracterizes and overstates what we know about how particular foods drive disease by offering a narrow view of the science with cherry-picked studies to support his views, which that's not what you should do. You should be able to look at both sides and show both sides to your audience. Like when I'm talking about something bad that a company or a nonprofit has done, I will usually, in the beginning, if they have done some good, it will be acknowledged in the beginning. For example, many of you have asked me to cover the Salvation Army, which is a video I did many, many months ago, but there were some audio issues, so I've kind of fixed the audio, and it's going to be uploaded tomorrow morning. And in that video, Salvation Army, I do acknowledge some of the good that Salvation Army has done in the past. But Salvation Army has a lot of skeletons in their closet, right? A lot of skeletons. And that's what obviously the episode, the video is going to be about. But I do acknowledge that there is some good. It's just like in the sense with today's video with Goodwill. I can acknowledge that Goodwill started as doing something good. And yet they're now just taking advantage of disabled workers. And that's also not okay. So anyway, let's continue. So friendly health professionals, he also seeks out a slew of vegan and animal rights friendly health professionals rather than a more balanced roster of experts, and engages in silly gotcha journalism to suggest organizations like the American Diabetes Association intentionally hide the truth about diet. That's not okay. So, as for the cherry-picked things, eating processed meat is as bad for you as smoking is apparently a statement that was made in the video. So one of the first things they say in this particular documentary is that eating processed meats is as bad for you as smoking. So in a gross distortion of the World Health Organization's 2015 review of the link between processed meats and cancer, Anderson claims WHO sees bacon as a food on par with cigarettes and asbestos when it comes to causing cancer, and that eating a daily serving of the stuff increases your colorectal cancer risk by 18%. Eating processed meat, including hot dog, bacon, and lunch meats, does increase your risk of that cancer, but the health effects are not nearly as large as Anderson suggests. A person's lifetime risk of that cancer is about 5%, like just as a general. And then eating those processed meats every single fucking day appears to boost that person's absolute risk by 1 percentage point to like from 5% to 6%. And that's like if you're eating bacon every single fucking day. Every single one. So that is a disgusting over-exaggeration. It is not the same. They say eating an egg a day is as bad as smoking 5 cigarettes, which falls under the same bullshit. Drinking milk causes cancer. Well, PETA used to say drinking milk causes autism, if you guys remember that from one of my videos. So now drinking milk causes cancer too. Systematic reviews of the best available research about eating dairy and mortality or cancer find no consistent link. Yet that is something, again, that they wanted to create a link for when it doesn't fucking exist. You cannot make up facts to suit your narrative just because you want it there. That's not what you're supposed to do, and that's not responsible or ethical. They say 1 serving of processed meats per day raises the risk of diabetes by 51%, and they say this is another example of a grossly over-exaggerated claim. So he said, if an man's lifetime risk of developing diabetes is 32% and a woman's is 38%, eating processed meats would lead to an absolute risk increase of 6 and 7 percentage points respectively. Although you have to eat those things every single day for your entire life. Every day. They also continue to say that fish is toxic. And according to the film, it's full of mercury, antibiotics, and other chemicals. And while mercury exposure is definitely a risk for fish, for some people, not all fish are created equal when it comes to mercury exposure. Nutrition researchers point out that eating fish comes with many health benefits, such as delivering essential nutrients like omega-3 fats, and the decision to cut fish out of the diet over mercury concerns shouldn't be taken lightly. Again, saying, this is fucking bad, don't do this. Also, 5 to 10% of cancer is caused by genetics and the rest is caused by food. This is, again, not fucking correct. It's sad. The film is filled with gotcha bad journalism. What everyone can agree on, so it's trying to be like the conclusive statement about, like, well, you know, like, we need to make things better, blah, 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 whatever. So those were like her sources. Now we've debunked her 3 main studies that she fucking loves. Karan says you can never stop me from eating sushi. Fucking same though. Those are her 3 studies. They're all debunked for over-exaggerated claims, for lying and twisting the actual scientific data to suit a narrative that is not conducive with what is factual reality. That is fucking unfortunate. But that's the tea. Let's continue.
You understand the damage you have done to the vegan community at large. But you know what? I'll be praying for you.
He has damaged the vegan community. He's absolutely right.
I am not a religious teacher.
Oh, God.
I am not interested in religion. I am interested in doing what religion is supposed to do, which is to help people to be good. Religion is not doing its job. Otherwise, every single church, mosque, and every other religious building, under their roof, there would never be any dead corpses that are being served. But that's not what's happening, is it? They go and pray to God, and then they stab animals with their forks and laugh during their potlucks.
Oh, this is mad uncomfy,
it's
gotta
really
say.
Amazing to me. People need to understand what it's like to be the victim and stop hurting these poor innocent animals.
Yeah, Cowspiracy is the first one that we debunked. The big thing in Cowspiracy, their main thing hinged off the idea that all greenhouse gas, or that 51% of yearly greenhouse gases are because of the, like, environmental cost of raising livestock. That's what they said. When you look at the actual, like, facts, they had to fact check themselves only months after Cowspiracy came out to say on their Twitter it was 18%. And the actual reality of the facts is 5.1%, not 51%. That's a little bit of a fucky-wucky to forget where the decimal place goes. Just a small one. So yeah, all of these things pretty much that she used, what we looked at right now was just what the health. We also looked at debunking Earthlings, and we debunked Cowspiracy as well. So 3 out of the 6 on there, 50% of her sources, are over-exaggerated, misquoted, or have retracted their statements in favor of showcasing the actual ones once the initial shock factor was out. So her own facts and sourcing is fucking trash, and that's sad. But I think for me, we've been literally on this stream for almost 3 hours now. This is giving me one hell of a fucking headache. I should probably have to, like, get ready to to get Stinky ready for bed and give him some lovin's and play with him and cuddle with him for a little bit before putting him to bed and everything. So I think this is probably, and unfortunately, a good place to stop the stream for the night. We didn't even get through everything I wanted us to get through, but she is just angering me so much, and it's almost sad that someone this fucking dumb is like on the internet spewing this much garbage. Like, in a sense I feel bad, but like, do I though? Like, I don't know.